All right, Monday night football doubleheader was a snooze fest. Honestly, I didn't watch too much of either game. Broncos cleaned house against the Bengals, and Jets Dolphins. It's Jets Dolphins. It's exactly what you expected. But good thing is that we're back on the podcast. We're doing a recap of mostly Sunday games tonight. You know what it is? Back on the JV show with JV and my boy Steve. Steve, how you doing, man?
I mean, like you said, dude, what were these Monday night games? You already know how just anti two Monday night games I am. I despise the doubleheader. Having a double box Monday night is blasphemous. But yeah, then to get these two bad games, just the cherry on top for just an underwhelming Monday.
Pretty brutal, dude. You end off your first work day of the week. You come home and you got to watch Tua ball out. It's bad. It's really bad.
And
but
you
at
gotta
least
watch
we got
Fields. You got to watch Jake Browning.
You got to watch.
Bo Nix was the highlight.
Come on. What are we doing, right? But you know what? At least football's on. At least we got something to talk about. We had a bunch of Sunday action going on, so we're going to dive into that tonight. Talk about your Colts, Steve, because I know even though they lost, I'm hoping you're a little bit optimistic about how that ended, of course. Yeah. And we're going to get into a bunch of that stuff this evening, so I'm pumped up. Before we get things started, I just want to remind the viewers I am sponsored this year by Big Third Down Shop, so they hooked me up with a bunch of these hats, including this JV Show one and a bunch of NFL ones. So go check it out. They got their link in my bio right now. You can go shop their hats. There's a bunch more merch coming, so stay tuned for that. And Steve, you got any takeaways from Monday Night Football before we get into Sunday action?
I'll throw you this stat, JV. Justin Fields, are you listening? Fields is now 0-25 in his career when opposing teams score 21 or more points. I mean, this guy's bad. Let's call a spade. Justin Fields is bad. I mean, how many teams? He started at the beginning of the season for 3 teams in his first 5 years. How many more teams are going to have to figure out that this guy is just not a winning quarterback? Like, listen, I think Justin Fields is really talented. I do. Big arm. He's honestly one of the best runners in the league, just all players, like even including running backs, one of the best runners. You can tell at Ohio State. But he can't read the field good enough. He can't play a clean enough game, had a fumble tonight. For him to consistently carve a defense up and down the field and lead a shootout. A Justin Fields-led offense can't score enough points. They scored 21 points tonight, the Jets, and they lost. Because Dolphins scored 27. So
it's
just
pretty
add that
bad
for Justin Fields, man.
You know what? That Jets team, I didn't believe in them from day one. And sure, week one looked amazing. I had never seen Justin Fields ball like that. But I just don't see him as a franchise quarterback or even a starting quarterback in the league. I just don't think he fits the role. I don't think the arm is there. As for the Dolphins, I mean, prayers up for Tyreek Hill. To me, at his age, that sounds like something career-ending. You know, I don't want to put any money on it or anything like that. I hope he has a healthy recovery and can come back to playing football, but that looked really bad. Like
It's over.
Alex Smith bad. Like his leg was going the opposite direction. Your foot's not supposed to look like that. So full prayers out to Tyreek Hill, but unfortunately at that age, you know, I am a little bit concerned with the longevity of his career. And then the Bengals, man, I mean, the Broncos dominated them as expected. It was a must-win for the Broncos. They needed that in the win column. The Bengals, I mean, it's unfair to say that you need your starting quarterback because maybe 31 teams in the NFL besides the Eagles absolutely require a starting quarterback to win a game or make the playoffs. But the Bengals, you watched them without Burrow and you realize it's really all they got. It's Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. And without it, I mean, they're a bottom 5 team, bottom 5 organization in the NFL in all of sports. Like, it's really, really bad. And I didn't expect it to be this level of bad, but it's pretty embarrassing watching them play. Broncos cleaned house. I think it was like 28-3 the last time I checked. I think the game might still be on.
Yeah.
Embarrassing. There's so many problems in Cincinnati. So, I mean, that was a recap of Monday Night Football, a whole lot of crap. But Sunday we had a lot of great games, Steve. And I want to start off here with Sunday Night Football, Cowboys-Packers, which ended in a tie, 44 in overtime. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the evening, I can't believe NFL games still result in ties. Is it not crazy? Nobody likes it. Neither team is happy. No fan base is happy. I don't understand why the NFL doesn't adopt the college rule for overtime. It makes it more exciting. It gives us a defined winner. I haven't heard anyone against that debate at all. I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I completely forgot games ended in ties. How is there not a tiebreaker? How is there not a definitive answer as to who's the winner in these games.
I mean, I've been saying for years, college OT rules, let's do it. Like, come on. Like, what are we waiting for? It's electric every time in college football. You get the main drive, then you get the drive, then the two-point conversion, then it's two-point conversion off. Let's end games this way. Or go back to sudden death. Ties are just so stupid. These guys are, hitting each other for 60 minutes, and they got to go home in a tie after playing like 10 more minutes of football. That game should never have ended in a tie. There's got to be winners and losers. That's it. Seriously, I mean, these wins and losses and ties and stuff add up at the end of the season. We can't have ties on these win-loss columns. There's a winner and there's a loser. What am I supposed to do with last night's game? Because there's a tie. There had to be a winner and there had to be a loser. And
you go to bed.
Made it bad because, like, with the whole Micah narrative, you really wanted to see a winner and loser in that one.
I know. You know what?
With a tie, like, come on. In that game, I'm glad I'm on Central Time, but in the East Coast, that game ended at like midnight.
I know. You go to bed just feeling dissatisfied, unsettled. I mean, I'm just like, I need a winner. Maybe if you're the Saints and you tie the Bills, you're pumped up. Like, that's a win. But these big games, I mean, I wanted to see Dak close out the game last night. And we're going to talk about Dak and Jordan Love, but I just want to see a winner. And that has to change. The NFL is focused on their kickoff rules, the virtual measurement of the ball. Like, change the overtime rules, please. Give us something to root for. Give us a winner and a loser, because now I have to stare at that -1 on that Packers and Cowboys record for the end of the year, and I just can't handle it. But with that being said, it was a great game, man. Probably the game of the week. Super entertaining. Let's talk Cowboys. Let's talk Dak Prescott. We're not blaming Dak for anything this year, in my opinion at least, Steve. I want to hear what you have to say, but he's been fantastic. He leads the NFL in passing yards right now. He's third in completion percentage. He's been great in the clutch. He's moving extremely well, very accurate, and playing up to the contract he was given, which was a huge contract. Still don't think it should have been $60 million. But you look at last night, no CeeDee Lamb, and he still drives the field and puts 40 points on a good Packers team. The Cowboys are 5th in points for this year at 28.5 per game. This is all coming off a season-ending injury, too. Like, Dak has every single reason to fall behind the 8 ball and be an older quarterback and phase out of the league. But he looks great, and I think we forgot about how good Dak really is. The playoff struggles, I mean, they're there. But in the regular season, man, he's always pretty consistent. He's always put up some really good numbers. If it weren't for that defense, the Cowboys could be 4-0 with Dak. And I'm not blaming him, Steve. I just don't understand why people do it.
I think it's pretty easy now to say that Dak Prescott's a top 10 quarterback. I don't think how you can dispute otherwise unless you just hate Dak and the star in his helmet. If Dak was on the Colts, you'd be calling him a top 10 quarterback. If Dak was on, Philly, you'd be calling him a top 10 quarterback. I mean, this guy, is he a $60 million quarterback? No, but 45 and 50, yes. I mean, people forget healthy Dak leads top 10 offenses. Healthy Dak makes the playoffs. You can't dispute that. Does he win playoff games and go to the Super Bowl? No, but he's like that tier below where he's an elite quarterback, but he isn't special. Dak Prescott carved up an elite Packers defense without CeeDee Lamb at home on Sunday Night Football. Like you said, he's top in yards, near the top in completion percentage. He's been really clutch this season as well. JV, that throw to Tolbert in overtime when he was fading away. I mean, I don't want to say that's like Mahomes-Allen, but wasn't that not Mahomes-Allen? Like, that was a special throw. I think Dak deserves his respect, really. And I'm seeing guys like Stroud struggle, Geno Smith, as some people like to say was top 10 when he's not, struggle. You see some like top 10-ish quarterbacks kind of like have some weird performances. Dak's top 10, and you could make an argument he's like 6, 7, 8. Seriously.
I've seen a guy like Purdy floating in and out of the top 10 when the Niners have been good and bad. And I look at Dak, and it's just undeniable the talent there and the consistency. Like, when he's healthy, and last year it might have been a little bit of a hiccup. They started off a little slow, gets injured. Yeah, I'm going to push that year away. And I'm looking at this season, how he's performed through 4 games with no defense, with CeeDee Lamb injured yesterday. It was amazing. Honestly, it was. Even his playmaking ability, like you mentioned, Steve, he's on the run, making things happen. I mean, week 1 against the Eagles, it was CeeDee Lamb that cost him that game. It wasn't Dak. He was putting it right on the money. And then against the Bears, too. I mean, if they had half a defense, I'm not blaming that on Dak. I can't believe they benched him that game, too. So Listen, the Cowboys, I don't think they're going anywhere this year as far as playoffs go, but Dak is really good. I think you can fall back on him, and I've always agreed on the fact that Dak should have been paid not solely for the talent he puts on the field, but for the amount of BS he deals with. I mean, he's got Jerry and his aviators just rambling on after games, and he's got to be at the forefront of the franchise and take all the shit from the media and answer all the questions with a smile on his face. Dak's a good guy to have up there. He's not some guy that's going to whine and complain. I like him as the face of the franchise. So if that's going to be $60 million, it is what it is. At least he's winning you some regular season games. At least he looks pretty good. You got problems elsewhere, I got to be honest with you. And one of those places, Steve, holy smokes, is that Cowboys defense. I don't know who gave the job to Eberflus, but it's really bad. That Cowboys defense is one of the worst I've ever watched. Like one of the worst in history, we're talking. 31st in points against, at 33 points against per game right now. Secondary is torched every single week. They were slaughtered by Russ, who was benched the next week. They gave Ben Johnson, a rookie head coach, his first win, and they just can't stop the obvious. They're playing zone coverage and getting beat over top time and time again. Russ was throwing moonballs on them like it was prime 2012, and they didn't have an answer for it. Like, I just don't get it. Eberflus is a joke. The defense is a joke. I don't even think Micah would have helped the situation, Steve, to be honest with you.
Well, it's kind of, dude, I don't like siding with Jerry Jones, but it's kind of the whole reason why Jerry Jones traded Mike in the first place, because he looks around and he sees, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes, and I'm about to pay this one player $50 million plus. What does Jerry keep saying? I'm going to trade Micah to get not just one player, but like 3 players. Now, my whole problem with the Micah trade is I'm down with trading Micah, although I'm really not, but I'm down. You just got to do it before the draft. So the defensive help is not going to come until like 2026, 2027. But yeah, JB, they got a lot of problems. You listed off the defensive statistics. They're the number 1 total offense in the league, but they're the number 1 worst total defense in the league. Like, they're atrocious. They're kind of like the Ravens, where like they got a lot of like name guys on their team, and then you actually see them play and you're like, why are they so bad? Like, you got Diggs, you got Bland, you got Kenny Clark, you got guys you can like name. It's like the Ravens with Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, Jair Alexander. You can name these guys, and then you watch them play and you're like, every single time a receiver runs past them, they're wide open. They can't stop the run. Quarterbacks are just throwing for 3+ touchdowns and having a field day. Like, their defense is really bad. So, yeah, they're not going anywhere with this defense. But I don't think Jerry Jones, maybe Jerry Jones thought this defense was still going to be good, but I don't think they really thought this defense was going to be a 2025 thing anyways.
I'm probably confidently starting Jake Browning against that Cowboys defense over any other fantasy quarterback. Like, honestly, it's terrible, man. Every time I look, Trayvon Diggs is touching earth. The secondary just stinks. They can't put pressure on the quarterback. Kenny Clark's been all right, but like you said, Steve, there are so many holes on the roster, and I feel bad, genuinely, for Dak, because he's been putting it on for a while for this franchise, and I just don't think that they've had the teams to do it. I mean, they've had some good defenses, some good teams overall, but that's always been against bottom-feeding teams. When it comes to the playoffs, against the upper echelon of NFL teams, they've just been torched. So this year, again, another write-off, unfortunately, because Dak's been balling. I want to touch on the Packers, Steve, and Jordan Love. To me, and here's my take on the Packers, I've kind of flip-flopped. Started the season a little lower on them. I saw them ball out. I loved it, but I think at the end of the day, the Packers are a B-level team, and they're not in the tier of the Eagles. I don't see them on par with the Eagles. I see them more on par with the Bucs. I would say maybe the Rams, but I just don't view them in that A tier of NFL teams. I think, well, first of all, Dak put 300 or more, 319 passing yards on them, and no CeeDee Lamb. Like, that's a first concern for me. But I think I'm concerned about, A, the secondary. The defense, I don't think, is as good as people expect it to be. I don't think they're as consistent as they are going to be moving forward. And Jordan Love, as good as he is, like we've talked about, Steve, will turn over the ball at unprecedented times, and it's just, it throws the momentum off of the game. Yesterday, he fumbled at the end of the half. gave the Cowboys a touchdown, and it kept them alive and gave them some momentum going into halftime. Now, Jordan Love played a phenomenal game of football. I'm not going to deny that. But there are too many question marks for me of like, is the defense going to be as good as they can be for 18 weeks in the playoffs? Is Jordan Love going to play a mistake-free football game for all 4 playoff games that they're involved in? I just don't know. So again, I see them more on the tier of the Bucs, where they could disrupt something in the playoffs, but I just don't think that they're a matchup that I like against an Eagles team. What do you think, Steve?
I like them against the Eagles. I think they're definitely better than the Bucs. They're on that tier with the Rams. But to Jordan Love, dude, you see that end of overtime, almost CTE moment where Jordan Love almost threw the game away? Where if they didn't have that ball deflected with a second to go, they would have left Jerry's World with a loss.
Yeah.
We talked about the other week. The Packers still, to me, feel like they're a Jordan Love bonehead mistake from just losing in the playoffs. I will say, though, I still think they are contenders. I'm not going to say they're a B-level team. I think they're an A-level team. But I did feel like after going to sleep on Sunday Night Football that they did lose some steam. I mean, that was a pretty rough 2-week stretch from the Packers after they destroy the Lions, they destroy the Commanders. They look like maybe the best team in the NFL, and then they go to Cleveland and lose to the Browns and they hang up 10 points, and then Dak puts 40 on them on national television. So, yeah, I might backtrack a little bit on the Packers. I still think they're an A-tier team. I don't think there are 4 better teams in the NFC than them. I don't think there are 8 better teams in the NFL than them. But, yeah, it's a little bit concerning. But, again, whole season left to play.
True.
With elite defenses, they're not going to have shutout 85 Bears performance every single week. They're going to have a game or two where they get lit up, and probably this is just one of it. They have an easy schedule coming up, I believe, so they're going to rattle off some wins. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, and you don't win Super Bowls in September. It happens in February, right? Like, the playoffs are a whole different beast. And you're right. Like, I think when you match them up against the Bucs, it's a close game. I probably take the Packers, but honestly, I probably favor the Rams in a Rams-Packers divisional game or a conference championship game. I just like the Rams' consistency. I'm probably taking their receivers over the Packers, their quarterback for sure. And even that defense is close. That Rams defense has been balling. And I don't doubt that the Packers are a really great team. I think they've surprised me a lot this year. But I would advise people to just pump the brakes slightly because that offense was deflated against the Browns defense. Credit to the Browns defense. They've actually looked not too bad this season considering their quarterback struggles. But back-to-back weeks now, I'm a little iffy on this Packers team and how they've looked. Not going to jump the gun, though. Still a great team. I just don't view them on the Eagles level or maybe even the Bills. I think Josh Allen would dominate them and take over the game. Just in my opinion, as a Bills fan, I'll make it very clear. I think the Bills would absolutely win that game. I want to pivot here, Steve, to 49ers, Jaguars. Jaguars are a really good team so far this year. They're starting 3-1. Let's talk Brock Purdy first and the 49ers. Look, Brock Purdy needs to be better, but I'm not blaming that entire loss on him. $53 million per year. I need Purdy to close out games. I need him to be excellent in the clutch. You can't have 3 turnovers. It just can't happen. You can't fumble the ball away. You can't hang passes in the air and leave it up for the defense and turn over the ball. It just can't happen. 3 turnovers, it can't happen, period. But that being said, he's not alone in the blame. Play calling still needs work. I still don't trust Shanahan in the big moments. Kendrick Bourne couldn't catch a cold on the weekend against the Jags. Special teams continues to be an issue under Shanahan. They allowed a 90-yard punt return touchdown in a crucial point during the game, and they still have so many injuries. Bosa out for the season. Kittle, Ayuk, the list goes on. These are winnable games. And yes, Brock Purdy had a bad day, but he's coming off an injury. I think they rushed him back. And I also think that there's a lot of problems on this Niners team that have not been addressed in a long time, offensive line included. I want to hear your thoughts.
Brock Purdy has 20 interceptions in his last 19 starts.
Crazy.
This was always the concern when it came to paying Brock Purdy $50+ million is when you start plucking the Avengers, a CMC here, a Kittle here, they go away because of injury or you just can't pay them. then he shows his limitations. He really struggles playing from behind. I know he had that clutch win against Seattle, but he really struggles playing from behind, and he tends to turn the ball over. Now, I will be fair to Brock Purdy. It does feel like he's still injured. And speaking of injuries, this isn't just plucking a CMC Kittle. This is like plucking the entire team. I mean, it feels like everyone and their mother related to the San Francisco 49ers is dealing with something. I mean, it got so bad, JV. Juwan Jennings needs to go to the tent. Sorry, you got to wait in line, buddy. Pearsall's in it right now. They got problems. But, yeah, the thing with Purdy is I think he's solid, but, man, does he have problems playing from behind? Does he just have problems under pressure, fit with limited weapons? He doesn't get help as far as like, oh, Pearsall's down. Oh, Jennings is down. Oh, Bourne's not here. Or Kittle is not here. CMC can't run the football as effectively as he used to. He's not getting a lot of help like he used to 2 years ago. But you need a little more from Purdy. You can't. Some of these turnovers are just unacceptable.
You know, you got to wonder how many athletic therapists they got on hand. Like, they must have a team of like
None.
30 they must have a team of 30 at the game, 10 emergency fans. Like, I just don't understand. Every game there's an injury. It's funny because an athletic trainer reached out to me who works with a professional sports team because he saw my videos on the Niners, and he works with a few Niners players, and he says they just put way too much strain on the players. And I was like, no kidding. Why is it that every single year this team is the most injured in the league? The one year they weren't, I think, was 2019 or 2022 when they went to the Super Bowl, ironically. So it's just crazy. It's crazy. Like you said, it's not just plucking a single feather. The animal's he's bare dry, dude. He's got no feathers no more. It's pretty sad. So as much as I want to say Brock's got to be better, and he knows he's got to be better, it's always been a concern of mine with him. He's got to put more velocity on the ball. He needs to get it out there. You can't just let it float in the air for forever. It just can't happen at the NFL level. Even that comeback against the Seahawks, incredible, but that ball, I mean, at the back of the end zone should have been picked off if we're going to be for real. But again, I just have a hard time blaming Brock Purdy when a lot of the team is on IR, when the offensive line still isn't there as far as protection. The coaching, I don't think, is up to par, and I don't think that the special teams is there. So Purdy's a problem, but there's a lot of other issues in San Francisco. As for the Jags, Steve, man, the Jaguars have life again. This is a solid football team. I'm really surprised. Probably the biggest surprise of the year, even more than the Colts, to be honest with you. The defense has looked excellent. 13 turnovers in 4 games. 4th in points against at 18 points allowed per game. The offense has looked way more dynamic under Liam Cohen. They're prioritizing one-on-one matchups, which is huge. They're taking the easy throws. The run game has been revived. Travis Etienne last year had no rushing games above 75 yards. This year, he's got 2 above 120. Like, that tells you everything you need to know. Liam Cohen is fired up. He's the face of this franchise. He's the head coach they needed. They needed a boost of energy. They needed a fiery head coach that's going to go out there and fight for them and scream at Robert Saleh after the game. They needed somebody to just bring the juice, and I think they got that with him. The play calling's been much better. I loved a heavy package they brought in this week in the red zone. I was watching some film there. They just look a lot better. 3-1 is a great, encouraging start, and the division is really up for grabs. I know you got the Colts balling, but with the Texans falling behind, you never know.
The Jags feel weird to me. I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, it's obvious that Liam Cohen is coming in here working. I mean, you see him fired up with Robert Saleh. He's bringing some juice to an offense that since they made the playoffs about 2-3 years ago has just been terrible. And they look a lot faster. The play calling looks more creative. But I say it's weird because he's revived Travis Etienne. He's got this tight end and Strange balling out. But his 2 best supposed playmakers in Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter are just nowhere to be found in this offense. But they're still winning. Trevor Lawrence looks good. He doesn't look great. He doesn't look like a number 1 pick quarterback, but he looks good. And they're winning these games with, some defensive plays. Defensively, they're getting turnovers. But they're doing it without Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter. It's just a weird team. I don't know. I think they're going to eventually – they're not that surprising to me because I've always said that Jacksonville is a playoff team every single year since Trevor Lawrence, quote-unquote, broke out. But they're just weird to me. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, business decision Brian is what they were calling him after that 1 week. He didn't want to make that catch right into the DB or the linebacker. It's kind of odd. I will agree with you. I'm not a huge Trevor Lawrence fan, to be fully transparent. Turns over the ball a lot, doesn't do very well under pressure. Travis Hunter, I mean, I wasn't 100% sold on him as an early first-round draft pick. Talent-wise, for sure, right? He balled out in college. But if you're not truly elite at any position in the NFL, that kind of becomes a concern for me. Like, if you brought him in to be, a backup corner and a third option at receiver, you can just find a number 3 receiver or a backup corner. Like, I want somebody elite who you utilize every single week. I have full faith Liam Cohen will figure that out and get him the ball more, but I just don't think they found his identity on the field yet, which will happen. I think they'll get to that point. Don't know if the Jags will tailor off or not this year. It really depends on how their season shakes out, their schedule and all that. I think the Colts are the number 1 in this division right now, and I do want to talk Rams-Colts right now, Steve. I'm going to give you the floor because I know you're a Colts fan. I want to talk Indianapolis Colts, Daniel Jones. What were your thoughts and impressions on the game against the Rams? Because really this was their first test of the year, I would say.
Yeah, it's the Colts' first test of the year, and as a fan, I don't like to lose. Now that I have expectations for their Colts, I don't like losing. But in a weird way, I feel like they passed the test, although they lost. In a way, yeah, they lost, but it felt like, oh, the Colts are like actually for real. I wouldn't go as far to say the Colts are like S-tier Super Bowl contenders, but they hung in with the Rams. If A.D. Mitchell doesn't drop that ball heading to the end zone, it's a completely different story today. Maybe the Colts leave SoFi with the W, and you're like, oh my gosh, Colts 4-0, and they just beat Stafford and McVay in that defense. But Daniel Jones, he had his worst game, but you still felt comfortable with Daniel Jones. He had some turnovers. He had some Daniel New York Jones turnovers, but then he still had Steichen still got him making plays. Jonathan Taylor had that run called back that also could have been a touchdown. He looks like one of the offensive player of the years. Michael Pittman is balling out every game. Josh Downs is solid. Tyler Warren's a beast. Again, if A.D. Mitchell just doesn't have that boneheaded Jonathan Taylor-esque fumble at the goal line that ends up becoming a touchback, the Colts might walk away with the win. So in a way, I don't like that the Colts lost. Obviously, as a fan, you don't like a loss. But in another way, it's like I feel more confident with this team now.
I think you gotta, because going into the game, you're like, well, they've looked good, but have they played some true competition? You get the Rams, and that's a winnable game in my opinion. You leave 14 points off the board because of costly errors you make by yourself. It's not on the Rams, it's you, right? To me, that game told me the Colts proved they're not frauds. Like, they're a legit playoff contender. I think they can make the playoffs. I think that they're number 1 in that division. I think they're a really good team. The defense is a lot better than I expected this year. They just went toe-to-toe with the second-best team in the NFC, in my opinion. And the offense, there's a lot to root for. Like you said, Daniel Jones wasn't his best outing, but I still thought Daniel Jones balled out. I still thought Daniel Jones had an impressive game. Jonathan Taylor looks like an animal. He has since they drafted him, to be honest with you. He had that one huge year. I think he's in for another one. I was a little concerned, to be honest with you, Steve, about that offensive line in Indianapolis because they lost a few guys to Minnesota, but they've looked really, really good. And like you said, Pittman, Warren, Downs, Mitchell, there's a lot of options on that offense that you can turn to. Maybe not a true number 1 Jamar Chase or a Jefferson, but you got a lot of guys. It's kind of like the Packers receiver room almost. You got a lot of guys you can turn to. You don't know whose day it's going to be. A.D. Mitchell erased 14 points for them this week. And honestly, it was a boneheaded mistake to drop the ball at the goal line, but I don't think it was as bad as some I've seen in the past, throwing it back, going crazy. Like, he was conscious of what was going on, and that holding penalty, I mean, it was bad, but things happen, right? You make some mistakes, they move on. I thought it was impressive. Daniel Jones impressed me a lot. This was his biggest test of the year. I thought he showed us he's a real baller, to be honest with you. It's not just a product of bad defenses. 72% completion percentage, 265 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. That cover 2, cover 3 robber caused them a little bit of trouble. First interception was underthrown. Happens. Second interception late in the game, he was forcing the ball down the field. Am I going to blame him? No. Probably could have took the check down. Whatever. He had some trouble against the Rams, no doubt, but I still think he made some really impressive plays. And you can look to the future and say, we can trust Daniel Jones moving forward. As for the Rams, dude, Stafford's just unreal. Like, come on. You could argue Matthew Stafford is top 5. Seriously. His arm at 37 years old, that's greatness. We're witnessing Hall of Fame greatness right in front of our eyes. What were his stats? 375 yards, 3 touchdowns against the Colts, 70% completion percentage. The way he manipulates defenses with his eyes, the timing and anticipation on the routes with Puka. I mean, just go and watch the film. The pure anticipation with Puka is unreal. Very few quarterbacks are better in the clutch than Stafford. What a route, what a catch from Stafford to Tutu Atwell to seal the deal, give him the win. And he's also just a dog. Injured, banged up, it doesn't matter. You're always going to get a consistent Matthew Stafford. I mean, where do you think Stafford ranks for you, Steve? Like, I think he's undoubtedly top 10. But is there a case to say he's like 8, 7, 6, 5 maybe?
Oh, I think if you include Joe Burrow in your list, he's with Herbert battling for that 5 spot. I don't, you can go with, Herbert, Stafford, doesn't really matter for that 5 spot. But Stafford is such a fascinating quarterback, JB, because he's doing that thing again where he has that wide receiver number 1 who's elite, Cooper Kupp, Megatron, and he's just force-feeding him the entire game, and it's just working. Puka's going to end up having one of those Triple Crown Cup seasons, Calvin Johnson, lead the league in yards type seasons where you, by the end of it, you're like, this guy has over 2,000 receiving yards in a single freaking season. We're on that pace, and it's because Stafford just is so elite at giving him the ball, you don't even care that he's thrown it 20 times to one receiver. Stafford is still at 37. I had concerns about Stafford coming of the year. I kind of started fading him a little bit because of the back, and you're like, oh my goodness, at 37, is this kind of it? Is he going to, regress? Is he going to, is his arm strength going to go down? He looks as good as he's had in the last 3 or 4 years. That was a hell of a performance from him, seriously. Ball still got a lot of heat on it, still got a lot of strength. He still sees the field really well, and he's big time down the clutch.
He really is. And the crazy thing is, Megatron was a beast. Arguably the best, most talented receiver we've ever seen. Cooper Kupp in his Triple Crown season, unreal. Great route running from the slot. He was just getting fed, like you said, Steve. Puka, he's one of my favorite guys to watch because he doesn't have the route running bag of Jefferson or Chase. He's not super polished, but he's just a gritty receiver that does it all, is great with the ball in his hands. He can run every route in the books, doesn't do anything too detailed or crazy, but he's just mastered the basics. He is great in the run game. They can use him everywhere, running the ball, catching the ball, pass blocking. It's pretty unreal. I think he's got the same amount of receptions through 4 games as Cooper Kupp and I think Michael Thomas did in their Offensive Player of the Year seasons. So, just watching Puka ball, it's pretty unreal. And then you got Devontae Adams. How much better does it get for the Rams? You got Kyron Williams. The O-line looks not too bad. Defense is getting better and better every week. So, as for the Rams, I said it last week. I stand on it. I think they're the number 2 team in the NFC. I think we saw what they did against Philly in the first half. If they can score some points in that second half or they hit that field goal, it's a different story. Eagles are 3-1. So I believe truly, Steve, it's going to be an NFC Conference Championship rematch. But I don't know. Do you see that happening? Do you see them back in the NFC Conference Championship, those 2 teams?
I get 1,000% see it. I think the 2 best teams in the NFC are Lions, Eagles, but I can 1,000% see the Rams being up there just because outside of Reed Mahomes, Stafford and McVay are the best quarterback coach duo in the league. You got Puka Nacua, who is just having a cup Calvin Johnson's season. Like you said, Devontae Adams is a really good wide receiver 2 this season. Offensive line holding its own. Kyler Williams is good. Then that defense, despite it being extremely young, is insane. I don't know about you, though. I've been thinking about this. How much longer till we put Puka in wide receiver 1 conversations? I'm not saying he's better than Chase or Jefferson. You kind of also feel like I said earlier, Puka's getting that Stafford treatment where his stats are getting inflated because Stafford force feeds his best wide receiver. But he might not be as elusive as a Chase down the field or a Jefferson, but he's got some of the best hands in the world. He's extremely tough. He's hard to bring down, and he's so smart. Knows how to get open, hard to stay in front of. I mean, this guy in his first 4 games, I'm looking at these numbers.
Yeah,
10 receptions for 130, 8 receptions for 91 and a rush touchdown, 11 receptions with 112, 13 receptions, 170, a touchdown. Jordan Schultz tweeted this out this morning. Puka's played 32 games. He's got 100 yards in 17 of them. I mean, this guy's a beast.
And he was like a 5th-round pick, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, he was at a BYU.
Like, I mean, that just proves, too, that receiver talent these days. I mean, first-round guys, for sure, you're going to find a lot of gold there. But you can find a guy like Puka anywhere. And if he's in the right situation, I'm sure Cooper Kupp helped his development a ton, working with a veteran like Stafford. But like you said, what is there that Puka can't do? Like, he's honestly unreal, and for sure the volume plays into it, but there are very few receivers that can handle that much volume. It's taxing on your body to make catches like he has. I always think of the rain game against the Ravens, that reaching catch he made on the sideline, diving. I don't think people can comprehend. No gloves, slippery ball to make that grab. I think it was the end of the game or overtime. He's unreal, man, and I completely agree. We need to have him legitimately in top 8, top 5 discussions, because although I don't think he's got the Jefferson swagger, he's up there, man. Like he's absolutely in that conversation. Let's flip to Bears, Raiders to end the episode here, Steve. We can talk Geno Smith, talk Raiders, but Caleb Williams this week. Bears get the W, blocked field goal. Hooray. 2-2. Decent start to the season. Caleb Williams stresses me out a lot when I watch him. The talent is undeniably there. I will say that every single time. But when I watch him, he's very anxious. He's antsy. He's very reckless. He needs to just settle down. He needs to calm down, let plays develop, let things breathe. I'll never understand the Caleb Williams hate and the amount of it, because he's got a lot being thrown at him. He's got a lot being asked of him. There's a lot on his plate, a lot being thrown in his direction from Ben Johnson. This is an OC that dominated in Detroit and is now asking the same of Caleb Williams in an offense with a lot less talent, in my opinion, or at least proven talent right now. He has this tendency, and it drives me crazy. He won't let plays die, and that's the fighter in him, and I can appreciate that. It's kind of the same as Baker, but sometimes you live to play another down. You just live to play for the rest of the game, and he refuses to do it. And when he's running to the sidelines, holy shit, like, I'm having a panic attack. I'm not even a Bears fan. So, like, I have full confidence in Caleb Williams. People will say, oh, Drake May and Jaden Daniels, they were the money picks from the draft. I don't understand why they don't include Caleb. Like, the rotation of head coaches and OCs he had is insane for a rookie or second-year quarterback. Give him some time. You can see the talent. But shit, does he make me anxious. Like, just watching him play, I get concerned.
Definitely wouldn't say that was a great Caleb Williams game for sure. But I will say this. 2-2 is better than 1-3.
Yeah.
And you got to feel, listen, they weren't going to replicate that Dallas game. Okay, that's probably going to be the best game of the entire season for them. Dallas defense sucks. They were able to do trick play, and light up Chicago. But you kind of got to feel good that they were able just to win that game ugly. You know, the Bears in these last couple of years just haven't been winning a lot of games, particularly against the division. Now, the Raiders aren't in the division, but these road ugly games, the Raiders the Bears usually don't win these games. And for Caleb and that team to dig deep, they got some help with some stuff go their way, some field goals. But just to find a way to end up winning that game when they were down at halftime, Ben Johnson's crashing out to reporters, you got to feel a little decent that they were able to pull that one off.
Yeah, I really like Ben Johnson as a head coach. He's really entertaining to watch. He was so quick-witted with the reporter and just sick and tired of her BS. He just wanted to get on with the game. It was pretty funny to watch, but I think the duo will eventually find their groove. It'll just take a little bit of time. Like I said, there's a lot going his direction. He's thinking a lot, and you can tell. Caleb's overthinking when he's snapping the ball. He's very quick to bounce it outside the pocket, resort to his legs. He's just got to take a deep breath and settle down a little bit. The reads are there. The plays are developing. You got some good receivers, some good tight ends you can rely on. Just let it happen. But again, like you said, 2-2, not too bad for the Bears. I think that's got to be encouraging. As for the Raiders and Geno, shit, man. Geno, I don't believe in it with the Raiders. They need to find a new quarterback, whether that's this year in the draft or the following year. That's why I didn't back getting Genty. I thought that they needed to build from ground up. Although Genty had an amazing day, I will admit he balled out for sure. But I think long run, you're looking at a new quarterback, protection, defense, all of that. I don't think Pete Carroll can just come in and save the day. But I do think it's a testament more so to Seattle building a really good team over there, regardless if it's Geno or Sam Darnold. Mike McDonald's done an amazing job with that defense. We know what he did in Baltimore. The second he left, things have gone sideways, and now he's balling with those guys, that young defense in Seattle. So I don't know what to make of the Raiders. I just don't think they're a good team this year. I don't think that they're anything close to a playoff team. I'd like to hear your thoughts here, Steve, before we wrap things up.
Just a quick message to the NFL community. Can we just call a spade here? Geno Smith's overrated.
Yeah.
Some people might be like, oh, what are you talking about? How is Geno Smith overrated? I don't know. Check Twitter. I feel like this past year there's been a lot of, analysts and publications. I'm not going to say names, but if you know, who've been hyping up this guy like a top 10 quarterback. But when I watch the games, I'm like, there's just no way. The guy puts the ball in harm's way too many times, and cool. He makes one or two highlight throws where those tight windows actually go through, and it looks great. But how many does that happen to where it's like a touchdown, and then it's like 3 interceptions? He leads the league in interceptions through 4 games. How many did he have yesterday? It's like, Geno, what's the Raiders' record today if he doesn't turn the ball over? He's literally turned the ball over so much it's lost them the games. And, the Raiders were kind of like this sneaky playoff team if Geno was actually a top 10 quarterback. But, yeah, the offensive line isn't doing him no favors. I don't know who their wide receiver 2 is. Trey Tucker's he had that one breakout game. And they can't find I don't know if Brock Bowers is healthy. Can't seem to give him the ball. But Geno Smith, man, my God, how many back-breaking interceptions does he throw? That was getting to a hard watch. I'm trying to pull up the stats right here. He had 3. Nice. But the funny thing about Geno Smith, then he'll have 2 touchdowns. It's not like he has 3 interceptions, and then he'll still find a way to put up a touchdown or 2 on the board. But people were telling me this was a top 10 quarterback. He is not on Dak's tier. He's on that Tua tier, dude.
Yeah, he's not, unfortunately. And the weird thing is he's a fairly accurate quarterback. He's had some of the best completion percentages coming out of seasons these past few years. So it's pretty much either a completion or an interception. It's pretty hilarious. But, yeah, I got to agree with you, man. The Raiders are far from being anything close to the playoffs, and I just don't think Geno's the answer. I think the Seahawks did really well swapping out a Sam Darnold who's a lot more elusive, better passer, I think, right now, better playmaker, and I think a little bit younger, too, for sure. So, I don't know. I just don't believe in Geno. Bears carved out a big win to go 2-2. That's a wrap on the Sunday games we were going to talk about. Monday night was a snooze fest, but we covered it all. Steve, thanks so much for joining me. This has been great. I can't wait for week 5, brother.